Welcome back to the Impact Show. This is Todd Durkin, and I am so excited to share with you today on the heels of the Impact Summit up in Los Angeles, California, just a week ago. Talk about the heart is full and the soul is singing. Well, that it is today, my friends, and I hope yours is as well, because we had an epic, or shall I say, an iconic experience up there today, and you're going to get a sliver of some of that energy. As a matter of fact, a very special person, Kelli Watson, will be interviewing me today from the stage of the Impact Summit. And it is one of the deepest interviews I've ever had. Kelli Watson knows me well. She's the director of our coaching program. She oversees the mastermind program, Impact X Coaching, and our Impact Life Coaching certification program. And Kelli not only is one of the best coaches that I know, she's also one of the finest human beings that you will ever meet. And she did one heck of a job emceeing our entire event. 22 speakers, 15 sponsors, over 150 attendees who were fired up, ready to run through a wall. We worked out early in the morning. We had so many different presentations, talks, surprise visits that you'll be hearing about over the next few weeks. But I wanted to start today with this interview because it was one of the highlights for me of the entire Impact Summit was having Kelli ask me some deep questions. And when I say deep, this one involved not just business, where she asked about the Impact Summit and what it means and the intention that was set 7 months ago to do this and how we pulled off such an epic event, but also got into family. She asked a lot of questions about my kids and Melanie and what it means to, for family. And she asked about true strength and what that means and overcoming some of the things I shared in the book. So you're going to get a very real, personal, from the heart, emotional and authentic experience yourself here today as you're out walking, running, jogging, lifting weights, whatever you're doing. And I don't want to waste any more time because you're in for a great experience today listening to an interview that Kelli Watson gave me at the Impact Summit. So without further ado, let's go to Los Angeles, California right now, and for you to be part of the first annual Impact Summit. Kelli Watson, let's go there now.
You started off this year with a big vision. And you had 3 things that were going to get done. You had an Impact Summit that you wanted to run. You had a book that needed to get done. And you were going to start an Impact X performance franchise. Mm-hmm. Here we are, an hour from finishing number 3. How are you feeling?
Grateful. I feel grateful that I have the opportunity to do this. I'm going to get emotional, Jason. Dang. What I didn't share in True Strength yesterday was that diagnosis with sleep apnea in May of 2023 was the biggest blessing of my life because I was messed up. Guys, when I got a diagnosis with sleep apnea and I was like, there's the answer to my problems, for years I had this, I wasn't sleeping. And my mind wasn't right, and here I am fighting to get my mind right. I didn't know why. A lot of changes had happened, and they happened for me, not to me. They definitely happened for me, but last summer at Idea World, when they invited me to come back, because I wasn't going to come back, they said, just come check it out. That was the first night I had used that CPAP machine, and my mind was like, I hadn't experienced my mind in 10 years. And I was like, I'm back. Back. And over the next 3 months, as my mind started thinking big, it started thinking bigger than I've ever thought before. And Melanie started getting scared because I was saying things like, all right, I'm back. She's like, you never left. I'm like, no, I left. I was not in a good space. And that was the start last summer of really some big dreams. And that's when the conversations started happening with Travis and Cindy. I've been coaching him for 10 years. I started leaning in on some of my own whispers that were coming to me with the book. Do I really want to have the audacity to share all that happened, like all of it? If you read the book, you understand why. But there were some things that happened that I never thought would ever happen. And some of you all ask me, would you do it all over again? Would you change anything you did? And I say no, because I love where I'm at right now. And some of it doesn't make sense to you. I wouldn't change a thing with where I'm at right now, and I'm very, very blessed. So how I'm feeling is a book just came out, which has done incredibly well. Thank you, Kelli and Greg Justice. If Greg's in the house with True Strength, and for reading it and sharing it. And this Impact Summit was in December. When I started writing my God-Sized Dreams Planner, I'm like, I want to create an event that is our mastermind, Impact X Performance Coaching, our certification that was, had just started, and non-fit pros, non-coaches, folks who are members and clients. And we want to grow this over the next 2 or 3 years, where there's 500 people in the room that can do what we're doing times 5. And then obviously, then it was after that, it was early this year when Travis, Cindy, and I with the franchise, I started getting these visions of lighthouses. And the lighthouses, what God told me was, it's time. I've taken you to where I want to take you, and now I'm going to work through you, but you got to trust me. I kept hearing the word trust me, trust me. And I didn't want to trust, even though I've been broken. But all of that IXP is because I know there's something inside, and I don't know how I'm going to get all of it done. I don't know who all is going to be involved. I just know that I'm willing to fail and fail as far as I can to get to where I believe God wants me to go. That's how I feel right now at 7 months into this year, and I'm really excited and grateful.
Obviously being beside you in all of this, and then yesterday I was watching you up on that stage with that big group. We had Elaine, we had Jalad, we had Tony Horton, and I think back to where you really began, because you didn't start on that big stage. You started literally bands and balls in a parking lot, bringing your bag to wherever you could train, and building up a gym, and then going to the next level, getting on Strong, going global on that stage with those big names, that world stage. And I keep thinking that there's people in this audience, maybe they're not looking to be at that level, but they're looking to go to the next. They're maybe playing in a smaller pond. They want to go to the next larger pond. What can you tell them based on your journey, what you've learned, of how do you not just get to that next level, but get yourself to that next level?
It's scary going to the next level. Pastor Jeremiah says, new levels, new devils. New levels, new devils. It's always about who's in your life that counts. It's always the adversities that we face, or the losses or failures that we face, that we learn the most about ourselves. It's always about the people. I think that guy in the back of the room, Tom Dexter, I've been with him for 35 years. He's one of the few guys I remember at my dad's funeral. He drove 7 hours while in college. I'll always remember that. It's about the people. I believe in second chances. At Fitness Quest 10, I've always given people second chances. And I can name several of them I gave second chances to that went through some battles, including Jeff Bristol. Jeff Bristol, my business partner at Fitness Quest 10, who started at the front desk and then relapsed with drugs and alcohol or drugs. And when he came back after going to rehab the second time, was at the front desk. But that wasn't enough. Became a trainer. And mentoring him and mentoring him and mentoring him. And became the assistant GM to Julie. And then as TDE grew, Julie went into TDE and Jeff moved into the GM role. And as I started growing my mindset with everything that was going on, I was like, Fitness Quest 10 is part of my legacy. It always will be. That's my baby. And I've told Jeff this 1,000 times, but you're going to have to take the reins of this ship with me while I'm still here doing what I love to do. But this world needs a lot of help. And I can't do what I want to do and what I'm being called to do as it is if I do everything. So Jeff coming into Fitness Quest 10 on a whole nother level, because going through the pandemic, you find out real quick who's in the trenches with you. And Jeff Bristol, just raise your hand if they don't know you. That brother was in the trenches with me doing things that, guys, I was at my low. Second knee surgery, back blown out, everything was in a bad place. And I could just see myself spiraling down and thinking to myself, my words were, I don't know if I'm going to be living in 6 months. And if I do, how do I take care of my community? How do I take care of my ship? And if there was one person who could take care of the ship, it was that guy. And I'm like, Jeff, we need to chat. Because when we get through this thing, I need you to do this, and I'm going to do this. It's always about the people. And to this day, Kelli, your role in TDE has grown immensely in the last year. Because as we try to grow everything we're doing with coaching and speaking and as the coaching impact certifications and all, like, Kelli, we're gonna elevate you to another role, because I can't do it all, but Kelli's the best coach in the world. Can I get an amen? Anybody? Like, this woman right here, like, yeah, they're dancing in the back. Like, I've seen Kelli for many, many years grow. It's always about the people. I was talking to Lisa Harrington on the way over to the expo earlier. We were talking about legacy. You know, you see Elaine at 98, you see those Tony Hortons who I've known for a while, and some of those folks. Legacy is about your kids. Legacy is about your family. Legacy is about the people that you impact on a regular basis. It doesn't need to be nationwide or worldwide. It could be just your family, and that's it. The most important thing that'll carry that on. It might be your community of 300, 400, 500 people, or 1,000 people, or maybe it's multiple. So for me, it's about the people. The people who I've been blessed with, who I mentioned a few. Pastor Jeremiah. I don't know how he came into my life, but he's blessed me for a decade. In the last few years, and blessing me more, some of the words he says to me are really, really powerful, because he's fighting his own battles right now at 83 years old, and I listen really, really keenly to the wisdom that he shares with me, and it's always about the people. It's about the people, Kelli.
I'm actually looking at the slide right over your shoulder here, and the people right there, your family right around you, and I think about them a lot, Todd. You have an unbelievable ability to make whoever you're talking with the center of your attention. You're so good at making people feel important. In a room of 100, in a room of 1,000, you have this incredible ability to turn your attention and dial in. And I often think about your family with that, because in a room of 100 people calling on your attention, they're the ones that keep your attention. But how do you do it so that they understand that even though you're giving your attention to this, it's them? How do you show up, and how do you do that for them?
I'm not always perfect. I know that. I struggle with the time. But I really try with my family to do the best I can to allocate the time and energy, to focus time, to make sure they understand what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, and why I'm doing it. If I can't be with them, I explain why I can't do that, but I will make it up. And when I'm present, I try to be present. I try not to be on my phone on the Instagram and doing the things that some of us do, because it's easy to just mindlessly do that. So I can say this, that I'm conscious about it, about who I'm with, is to just focus in on the eyes and not be thinking of the 1,000 things that are going on, and really listen, because I find peace when I don't have to think about everything, and I can just focus on a conversation on that. How can I help that person? I was like connecting a bunch of people with folks early on, and I love that ability to connect people. But the kids are blessings. Next week, I don't have the time in the schedule, but my oldest son is he's graduating boot camp. He's going to be a senior in college, and he went the ROTC route. And he thinks that Melanie's coming to see him graduate in Fort Knox, Kentucky. I'm like, I got to be there. He doesn't know I'm coming yet, but when he graduates, I'm going to be there, because even though I have 1,000 things I got to do, there's nothing more important than when Luke sees me going into his senior year, just graduating from Fort Knox and the Army, and his dreams of what he wants to do as an officer serving the U.S. Army. I better be there. There's nothing more important than that. McKenna, Melanie, I got a text today. Melanie wants to be here, my wife, but She's on the East Coast because McKenna is in a big recruiting summer for her lacrosse. I was back there last weekend. She's back there this weekend, wants to be here, but you got to divide and conquer sometime. I spoke to McKenna this morning, getting her ready for the games, and you just do what you can to divide and conquer with your family. And, you know, it's just you do what you can do. You do what you can do, Kelly.
Well, speaking of family and energy, I was asking my husband before I came, what question would he ever want to ask Todd if he had a chance to ask him? So this is for Graham and anybody else that's interested. He said, could you have him tell me how he can get up every day with that positive energy? I'm not saying my husband doesn't wake up positive every day, but maybe he could use some tips.
Is this being recorded? Is Melanie listening to this? The truth is, I don't. I don't wake up every morning fired up to change the world. But there is a routine that I do that helps me get my own mind right and helps get the engines revving. And Dr. Jason, where's he at? Is he still there? He started mentioning some of the things that he does to make sure that after my holy hour is up, if I don't honor my holy hour, it's not going to be the kind of day that I want. And that holy hour is really important. I have rules for my life. I've got 12 rules. And one of those rules is don't go on my phone first thing in the morning, because my phone kills me. I start looking at the DMs, I start looking at the posts and the emails, and next thing I know, I lost my morning, which irks me, it irritates me, I'm angry because I didn't have the me time I need. The first thing I do when I walk down the steps is I go to the table, I get my quiet time. I have a devotional with Pastor Jeremiah. I have a journal there, and I write and I think, and I just read, and I get into scripture, and I have that daily devotional. I'll take 15, 20 minutes ideally, and just sit and think and write about faith. And I also always set the intentions. I use my journal, my impact journal, there's like 6 prompts, and you set your intentions for the day. I know who I'm going to be working with that day, so I set my intentions and my energy of who I'm going to be working with. And I learned this from Double E's wife, my body worker who taught me Zen body therapy. Who am I going to be talking to? What calls do I have? What huddles do I have? I'm talking to the mastermind group, Impact X, whoever. And I start channeling energy of who I'm going to be working with. And sometimes I'll text those people who I'm no longer going to be working with and set the intention of, hey, keep doing what you're doing. I see what you're doing. And I'll then, put something down later as far as my intention for those people. And by that point, it's time for me to go work out because Jersey Dog is scratching at the door. And then we go out and we do start with a walk, and then we get our workout in. And most days of the week, I'm doing that. First thing before 7 a.m., I'm done with my routine. But between 5 and 7 is my time. And I really try to protect my time because that's how all of a sudden, by 7 o'clock, I feel like $1 million. I feel like I am the most positive person on the planet. But it takes the routine to do it. And the days I don't do it are the days I don't have my best days. The days I'm not journaling or I'm not setting the intention or I'm not in the Word studying that. So it's a routine, and it's getting into that routine that's important.
And as much as the routine starts the day right, I'm also thinking there's probably a lot of people in the audience that feel a bit overwhelmed by their own calendars and to-do lists. Anything else that you could add that might be helpful to somebody who's feeling maybe overwhelmed with the time management and like figuring out how to fit it all in a day?
I don't know, does anyone feel overwhelmed? Okay, good. The things that you try to do, part of that is your big 5 for the day. So on that, or what are the big 5 things that you have to do? And I'm not talking about things that are needless. I'm talking about needle movers that you have to do to make sure you're going to get done by the end of the day. And then I like to have 3 focus bubbles. I call them focus bubbles. It's in Get Your Mind Right. 3 focus bubbles. Each bubble is 90 minutes long. 90 minutes long. This is how I operate. And in that time frame, so let's say that's going to be between 10 and 11:30 or 11 to 12:30, whatever your focus bubbles are, based on your circadian rhythms of when you're most energized. I'm talking to you, Kelly, I see you. Is the circadian rhythms here are when you're most focused and energized. Is I turn everything off. Your phones have an off button. So turn your phones off and focus. Because if you're checking your phones, you're distracted. It takes 12 minutes for your brain to get to the point where you can, if you're writing or you're thinking or you're creating or you're mind mapping the Impact Summit and you get distracted and then you get all these texts, you will not achieve what you want to achieve or accomplish what you want for the day. And if you win the day and you win the week and you win the month and you win the quarter and you win the year, you stack wins. So you hear the word stack wins, you have to go on down to the day to stack the wins that are necessary. That comes from the uber discipline for 90 minutes or maybe it's 30 minutes, whatever it's for you. I like to work in 90-minute increments because once I get the butt glue, I'll go, and I like to, sometimes it takes me 15, 20 minutes to get in the flow. And then if I start checking the DMs or Instagram's popping up, phone is off. Headphones go on. Have you ever seen me with headphones? A lot of times I'm not even listening to anything. Just don't talk to me. Like, it's just like, it's my focus bubble. Create your focus bubbles for 30 minutes or 90 minutes or whatever it is, whatever times of the day. If you're a trainer, you're a coach, and you coach from 6 a.m. till 10 a.m., then it might be 11:30 to 1. It might be 2:30 to 4. It might be 9 p.m. to 10:30. Whatever the times are for you. 3 bubbles are great. Get at least 1. One focus bubble, 90 minutes. You can create a lot of content in 90 minutes. Writing, whatever you're doing, 90 minutes. All of a sudden you double that, you're at 3 hours or 4.5 hours. Now you can get some serious stuff done. That's what I would say as far as how you can really organize your thoughts so you don't get anxiety and angst that you're getting nothing done and it's 5 o'clock and you're like, I got nothing done today. It's come down to the discipline to do what you're supposed to do, and that's a strategy that you can use that I've learned over the years of being around other high performers that has worked well for me.
I want to bring it back personal for a minute because I think you have had so many incredible moments in your life, so many successes, but nothing's perfect. Life sometimes throws us in different directions. If you could take a minute and look back through your whole life, are there any things you wish you had done differently or anything that you wish you could have changed?
I don't ever think like that. I'm not sure about that because I like where I'm at now. I like where I'm at now, so I sometimes daydream about if I would have went to the military academy or West Point or Naval Academy, which I had opportunities, I wonder how my life would be different now. I just play sometimes. Like if I went to West Point, got recruited to play football at West Point, I would have had probably a 20-year career in the Army. What would I be doing now? Would I be running for president? Like I start thinking sometimes just kind of weird, crazy thoughts of like, what's that? No. I'm not declaring it. But I start thinking like, hey, how would your life be different when you took those fork in the road moments and I went left instead of right and you go one direction? So I don't think I would do anything different because I like where I'm at now. But sometimes I daydream about big decisions in life, like how that means. Like, why did I come out to the West Coast when I was supposed to go to Auburn, Alabama? I wasn't supposed to be on the West Coast, and opening a business, Fitness Quest 10, and for 24 years have been fully, ingrained in running that business. I look at these fork in the road moments with growing at first the mastermind group, and then all these fork in the road moments. I love where I'm at right now, and I don't ever look back and regret anything. But I will say this: it's all back to true strength. We all go through hard times, and sometimes we go through our own hell. And everyone in this room has probably been through some form of hell. Either you or your son or your daughter or your spouse or someone in your family has gone through a hard time or is going through a hard time. I now understand that. The 2 toughest times was when my pops passed away when I was 20. I didn't want to go back to college. I didn't want to go back. Unfortunately, because of guys like that dragging me back to school, I went back. My back injury at 25, I wish that didn't happen, but it got me into fitness. I was looking at other routes like teaching and coaching or physical therapy, chiro school, but then that happened. That got me in that world at 25. And then at 50, when all that thing happened, all of the changes, when you read the book, you'll understand, 3.5 years of really difficult times, It's a big blessing now, and I'm signing a lot of those books. Your biggest burdens become your biggest blessings. Remember that. Your biggest burdens can become your biggest blessings. You got to get through the storm. Keep going. I kept saying during this time, man, I don't have cancer. Like my man Joe Pangelinan, stage 4 lung cancer, and I'm with him side by side. I'm like, phew, Mel, I can't say this out loud, but thank God I don't have cancer. Because cancer eventually takes you. And to me, I don't look back and say, I wish I would have done this. I'm just grateful for where I'm at now.
And where are you going now? How are you right now continuing to grow and improve yourself?
Where am I going now? I'm going to Whitefish, Montana next week. Going to hang out with Presley. Get ready, Brian. The family's coming because part of my God-Sized Dreams planner was I'm going to get into the summit. I'm going to see Luke graduate. I just planned that a couple weeks ago that I'm going too. And then we're going to Whitefish so I can catch my breath. As our team has done a lot of work on this summit, a lot of work for many, many months. And just want to take a little break and appreciate the moment, because watching the smiles and the hugs and the people coming in and out of the room and all the conversation, the networking, the magic that's going to happen from here, I got to tell you, it fills my heart to see it. I want to really capture that, because you mentioned those three were like the big three. And you say, wait, what's the next part? Is after that, I catch my breath. Got a very busy, aggressive schedule with two things. A book tour in the fall, because I'm basically everywhere Davidson football is playing, I'm going to, and I'm signing books. And also with IXP, with Impact X Performance, with Travis and Cindy and our 7 franchisees right now, a lot of times going to be going into the growth and expansion of other lighthouses around the country. And we've got more events. We've got CanFit Pro, Perform Better, and I'm really excited to be on the road and to connect live with people to share the good news.
Your theme for the year, Be Iconic, theme for the summit, Be Iconic. Where are you going to be iconic? How are you going to continue to grow yourself to reach that level of being iconic? What does it mean, and how are you getting there?
I asked myself this question. I'll encourage you to answer this as well. I'm not sure why, but in December, if you were following me then or listened or you read your emails that I was probably sending, is I kept asking myself, in December of 23, if this was going to be the last year of my life, what needs to happen? If this was going to be the last year of my life, what needs to happen? Because I felt like I was 3.5 years of a stallmate, I was kind of stuck. I couldn't move forward to where I wanted to go because I was going through my own stuff. I felt like I got to approach this year as if this was my last year, I got to say yes to the things that are most important and not wait. All the stuff that's coming down the pike I hear, the economy and this election, all this stuff, I don't care about it. I don't really care. My wife is now like, you got to care more. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't care about some of that stuff. I just want to change these lives. I want to create the lighthouses. And where it's going is, I'm not sure when I say be iconic. Iconic, what is that? To me, it's just making the moves that are necessary so that, God forbid, if that ever came to fruition, that my life ended before December 31st, 2024, that I did everything I did, because the question I had in 2021 in that floor in Mexico was, I'm all yours. What do you want me to do? And I heard it real clear, really clear, in that bathroom floor in Mexico. Follow me and be the light. Be the light. And I felt like I was being called to open up, but I had no means at that point to do that. I had no idea how it was going to be done. And 2024 was going to be my year. I put the stamp down of who I am. I'm going to make no bones about what Impact X Performance stands for, what Fitness Quest 10 stands for, what Todd Durkin stands for. It's faith, fitness, recovery, and life coaching, and that's what I'm all about. Love me, hate me, but that's what God wants me to do. Thank you.
Kelli Watson, thank you so much for that interview from the stage at the Impact Summit in LA just last week. And folks, I am so proud to be able to serve you and share with you and capture that so that we can provide that today from the Impact Summit. Listen, I always talk about be in the room, and nothing replaces being in the room. The connections and networks that were made from being in the room was epic. And I want to invite you to our next event. Not sure when that's going to be yet, but when it comes out, you're going to want to find a way to be in the room, because what happened at the Impact Summit was awesome. And that interview was just one of many different presentations with, again, 22 presenters and sponsors and great folks in the audience. It was a really, really special experience. And I got a bit emotional on stage, thinking about the power of intention and what it means to be up on stage in front of not just coaches and trainers in the fitness world, but we had life coaches, we had movie producers, we had accountants, attorneys, financial advisors, teachers. We had all different industries and careers represented. And it was really, really special to not only present at the Impact Summit, but to host the Impact Summit as well. I want to invite you to share a part of today's episode. Go on your Instagram and take a snapshot of the episode right now and post that, tag me at Todd Durkin, and of course, Kelli Watson. A huge shout out for Kelli for emceeing our entire event along with that interview that you just heard. Kelli's Instagram is at Kelli Watson 88. So if you're like, man, she's a good interviewer, at Kelli Watson 88, give her some props. She is going to be like the Sheila Walsh of Pastor Jeremiah. Every time Dr. J gets interviewed on his big shows, he always has his Sheila Walsh. Well, Kelli Watson did such an epic job herself, and she is got just an incredible background. Of course, she is the CEO of Scripter Publishing, as well as the director of all of our coaching programs. So check her out, Kelli Watson 88. Give her some love over on social media. But I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for sharing these episodes, for listening to these episodes, and most importantly, for you taking action on what you just heard to become a better version of yourself. That's what it's all about. My friends, thanks for listening today. Go out there and create an epic week, an iconic week. And until next time, remember, you got to train hard. You must eat right. Go out there, live inspired, and create impact today.